Well, hi again. Welcome to my latest video. Well, in this one, I'm going to show you a little novelty item that I bought for myself, and it is a digital voice recorder. Comes in this box, along with some accessories. It doesn't look like a regular digital voice recorder, though. Now, for example, the previous one I had looked just like my remote that I have for this camera. About this size, and would have records and playbacks and maybe a little LCD display to it. Well, that's not the case here. The actual container for this one is a regular ballpoint pen. A little bit thicker at the top than you'd normally see, but some of the high-end premium pens actually have it that way anyway, so it wouldn't be something that would stand out. To turn this on, though, is a little bit different than using it as a pen because it does function as both. If you want to use it as a pen, you hold the tip silver part here, and while you're holding that, you turn the entire body of the pen, and the actual ball point will pop out. And at that point, you could use it to write on a piece of paper or anything you want. To retract it, you hold it again and you turn the entire body to retract it. Now, to use it as a voice recorder, you use the part where the button is at the top. It doesn't really go down and stay down. It looks like it's already down, for example. But in order to turn it on as a voice recorder, you have to hold this down for 3 seconds, and then you will see it start blinking red lights. And once it's done that, it is recording. If you want to see if it's recording, all you have to do at any time is click on the little tip of it, and if it stays on, it'll go off after 3 seconds. But if you want to turn it off quickly, you would just click it again and it would pop off. So you could turn it, take a quick look, and then turn it off again, and you would know that it's recording. The only way you stop it from recording is to hold it down for 3 seconds again, and then you'll see it blink. It'll blink 3 times normally, but it also depends on what the charge of the battery is. And once it's done that, it is off. So if I now click it, it does not go red at all because it's not recording anymore. Pretty simple to use once you get used to it. Now, in order to get to what's in here, you have to actually unscrew it. So let me go to the overhead. So let's take a closer look at the pen. If we want to get into the storage locations and the connections to the pen, you have to disconnect it at this point by just holding this back part, the part that's the upper part, right? And then unscrewing it. And at the joint, it will come apart. And what you'll find in here is a little micro USB 64 gig that comes with it. You can just plug that into any computer and read it just like any other USB. Or you can connect up the cable that came with it. So it actually came with a USB cable. This cable here has micro USB at one end and USB Type A at the other. So if you plug this into the micro USB port that's there, right next to the SD card, make sure you get it oriented right. Now you could, after plugging that in here, you can plug it into your PC, and it'll come across as any USB device. You can copy the files to this, you can erase the files that are on there, you can do whatever you want. In addition to that, it comes with a headset. Standard headset, left and right ear, and another USB connector on the end of this. So you'd use the same slot that you used for connecting it to the computer. You connect up this micro USB like that, and now you can listen to it here. It has a little controller on the line. So right over here, it has a little controller which has on it a run, stop button in the center, a minus button here and a plus button here. Those two buttons allow you to switch from one recording to the next as you listen to it. This is in case you want to listen to it in the field and without connecting it up to your computer. So all of this came with it, including a set of 5 replacement ink refills. They're about half size, and they actually are down in the barrel here. If you look very carefully, the front barrel, they're right in there. And as I showed us before, you can actually get to the thing as a pen by just turning it there, and the tip comes out. And you can retract it that way. So it's a pen and a voice recorder. Okay? There's also an instruction pamphlet, which is a little bit on the small side, so you may have to put it under a magnifying glass if you are not really with sharp eyes. Or like I did, I scanned it and printed it out on larger paper, and it's just fine. But it tells you things like how it all works and how to set the date for each of the recording files. There's a process you have to go through, and I'll show you that later in this video. Okay, I just plugged the pen into my computer and it automatically connected as drive D, and this is what we see. Let me go into the record subdirectory, which is where that one recording is that I just made, and let me try to play that. So if I play it, it won't play with the default player on Windows, but it will play with the Windows Media Player. So let me click on that. Okay, this is a test of it. First I'll listen to the test on my pocket, where you normally pull a pen, and we'll see how that sounds. Testing 1, 2, 3 for my video on this device. And now we'll put it across from me as if it was sitting on my pocket and somebody else was sitting there in the room talking. So now I'm a distance of probably about 2.5 feet from it as I talk to, assume, myself with this in my shirt pocket. So let's see how that sounds when I play it back. Okay, now let's back up to the previous directory, and there's a file here that's called MRECEST. That's where you set the time and date if you read the instructions. So let's just go ahead and edit this. I am now in the Windows Notepad tool, and as you can see, it has a date of 12/5/23 on it. That's the date that would be put on the recordings. Now, in order to change this, the simplest way to do it is make sure that the device is actually plugged in, right, like it is right now, and then highlight the date and time. And on Windows, it's a little bit different for Apple, but on Windows, you just hit the F5 key, and it puts the current date and time. And once it's done that, then you do File, Save, and now that's set on the device. So that's the way you set the date and time if you're interested. I do recommend, however, that you still announce your date and time before you start saying anything, so that you know when you play it back what date and time that actually represents. That is the best way to do it, just to keep things in track, because sometimes the Windows labels for date and time on the files are not necessarily accurate. So there you go, a handy little gadget. I like to use it if there's something that I'm doing that I'm taking notes or preparing a rehearsal, let's say, for one of these videos, or just in general want to note something down. It's a good pen, so I can keep it with me most of the time, as long as I have a shirt with a pocket, and like I usually do. I prefer shirts where I can put the pens like this, and it's usable for me whenever I need it. And when it's in the pocket, all you have to do is, like I said, is hold that little button down for 3 seconds, and it's on, and it's recording. Now, when you plug it into the computer, you will notice that a red light does come on solid if it's not fully charged, which is most of the time when you would do it. After a while, when it's fully charged, and it doesn't seem to take long, then it will turn blue. So when that blue light comes up, then you know that the pen is fully charged and can be used. And it seems to last a long time. I've used it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours recording things, and the battery was still fine. When you do turn it off, it blinks the number of times based upon percentages. I think each blink is 25% of its charge. So if you see 3 blinks, that means you have 75% available. You only see 2 blinks, that's only 50%. But the lowest I've ever seen mine is 2 blinks, 25%. Now, I'm sure some people are thinking, what can you record? Well, I'm not a lawyer. Let's get that straight. Disclaimers all over the place here. But I did my own research and I talked to my lawyer, and most states will allow you to do one-party permission. So as long as you're part to a conversation in most states, then you're probably okay. But I would look it up first and then also talk to a lawyer about it, just to make sure, because there are exceptions. And it's a different thing when it comes to federal law if you're crossing state boundaries. But I'm not going to get into that. As I said multiple times, I am not a lawyer. If you want to use it to record conversations, ideally you should tell them that you're recording it. That's why you see whenever something is a phone call that you get on the phone and they need to record it for some purpose, they'll announce that. But like I said, the law does allow for exceptions to that I'm saying most states, but you should double check and make sure that your state is included in that. And the other countries, I'm sorry, you have to look that up with your local laws in that country and locality as well. But just to let you know, this is available for a lot of different purposes, and I use it for a lot of different purposes. So until next time, take care.